let me give a brief introduction. The topic for this session is Indian Media and Entertainment at 100, Reimagining the Future of Media and Entertainment. And friends, this session will explore how Indian creators are making a significant impact on global culture, from food to chess and beyond. And panelists will discuss the business of influence, the power of digital platforms, and how Indian talent is shaping trends and building communities and expanding India's cultural footprint across the world. We have with us our moderator, Vanita Kohli Khandekarji. She's the contributing editor, Business Standard. We have our speakers list now. Rajan Navani, founder and CEO, Jet Synthesis. Rajanji is chairman and MD of Jetline Group and leads Jet Synthesis, a leading digital entertainment and technology company specializing in video gaming and esports and different forms of entertainment using creator ecosystem. A Purdue alumnus and global leader, he drives initiatives for CII India at 100, diaspora engagement, and tech-driven development through key roles in CII, USIBC, Indiaspora, and various international forums. Let's have a huge round of applause for Rajan Navani ji. Thank you for coming. Great to have you. Vikram Tanna ji, CEO, Eros Now. Vikram, with a career spanning over 2 decades across technology, media, and gaming, brings a wealth of experience to his role as the CEO of the leading OTT platform, Eros Now, and the gamified reward system ecosystem Zalo, both owned by Xfinite, an innovative blockchain and AI-powered global entertainment ecosystem where users turn their time and engagement into rewards, brands advertise with trust, and creators build economies. He actively participates in mentoring startups, including Algorand Miami Accelerator, Moonbeam Accelerator, and Algorand Accelerate. In these roles, he offers guidance to entrepreneurs, facilitating their growth and expansion. Thank you very much, Vikramji, for joining us for today. Let's give him your applause. Moving on, Vineet Karnik ji, MD, Group M. Vineet Karnik is a seasoned media professional and an author with 25 plus years of industry experience. He has essayed leadership roles in areas related to business growth and strategic thinking. Marketer and team player at heart, he has built a reputation of being an industry thought leader, drive business results, and build long-term relationships with key stakeholders. In a diverse market like India, Vineet Karnik has deftly handled emerging market dynamics and has immensely contributed to the evolution of content marketing, sports marketing, consulting, media strategies, and entertainment business. So with all these dhakar people from the media, it's time for me to keep quiet and give the floor over to our moderator. Let's start with the moderator. Vanita, over to you.
Hi, good evening. Thank you for being here for this discussion. You know, in 2000, around 2000, I started covering the media and entertainment business. And I remember when I was doing my MBA in the 90s, TV was about a 500 crore business, you know. It was so small. TVs today are 70,000 crore business. We had like 3 channels at that time, somewhere in the 90s, 3 or 4 channels, and then, you know, then the Star TVs, etc. happened. In 2000, when I started covering, Sushma Swaraj gave industry status to films. 2001, I think the first multiplex came in Bombay. In Delhi, we already had PVR Anupam. And within 5 years, the film business, just 2 policy things. Multiplex status, film industry, multiplex became tax-free in Maharashtra for 5 or 10 years, if I remember correctly. And the film industry status, which opened finances for the film business. The business grew 7 times in 5 years. And it is sort of stayed put, but it has grown consistently year on year, except post-COVID, when it has sort of stagnated. The fact is, every time there is a vision presented, somebody pays attention to it. Usually, the media and entertainment business is a convenient thing to blame for the ills in society or for any other problems. But it's very rarely that policy is applied to it or thought is given to how you can take it to the... And I personally, one of the reasons I cover this business is because I believe it has the potential to be the next IT industry of India. And that potential is yet to be realized and unlocked fully. We see sparks of it on and off. We've seen it over the years, that I've been covering the business. So this, to me, this session, it sounds very airy-fairy, so to say, reimagining. But the fact is, if even 3 of the vision statements which come out of this, you can distill it into actual details, you have something solid to go on. I remember 2 years back, I was at MAMI, and we did a discussion on how indie films can find a support system, because there are a lot of independent filmmakers, we do not get support systems. We do not get a PVR to screen in, etc. And many of them I can see are now turning into little business plans. So my point is, sometimes these airy-fairy sessions, Vineet, to do it, say, they turn out to be, come up with things which could spark something. We don't know what it could spark.
Just adding to that point, Vanita, on MAMI, that you are so right that today MAMI has turned out into a much, much bigger festival, and not only a festival, but it actually hosts a Filmfare kind of an award, which is called the Critics' Choice Award. And I've been attending it for the last 4 or 5 years, and the kind of films and the kind of storytelling that we have seen, not only in Hindi, but in various regional languages, is so hard. I mean, it's so fantastic to see that kind of a storytelling from India.
Also, it has given life to shorts, which has become a separate ecosystem by itself, short film. But this is not just about films, the entire M&E ecosystem, which is $29 billion in India. Don't ask me to convert it to rupees. Mujhe yaad nahi hai abhi. I'll have to do that multiplication, but it's $29 billion. We are, the largest penetration is television, which is 900 million people. Smartphones are at 650 million people. So that is roughly the context of the business. I'm going to start with Vineet because he heads Group M and he has a good grasp on the numbers, especially on the advertising. Vineet, and each one of my speakers comes from different points in the ecosystem. So it's a very good amalgamation of minds here.
Yeah. So just to clarify, I head the content, entertainment and sports business. I don't head Group M. I obviously have a boss to report to, who's the head of Group M India. But yeah, just on the point on business standard, and thanks for making it. I think each time when we make any white papers or any reports in the industry, and we make a lot of them, I insist that to my PR team that I need to talk to Vanita, because the kind of research and study that she would go deep into the report and the way she would do her story, perhaps very few people today in the country would take that time. Okay. So before we reimagine, I think we need to first understand and establish the fact that how large we are, okay? So if you look at the Indian advertising index, it's about 1,64,000 crores. So you spoke about, what, some 500 crore number in the 90s?
500 crore?
Of TV. So TV today would be about 1 lakh odd crores, okay? So, no, about 70 odd thousand.
70,000 crore,
yeah,
total.
Of that 1,64,000 crores, 60% is digital. TV would be 26% of that number.
No, you're talking about the M&E number or the television number? You're talking the M&E.
M&E, media and entertainment.
Media and entertainment. Sorry,
Media and
M&E is media and
entertainment,
entertainment.
Yeah. So that's the size, and that's not small by any standards. That's quite large, okay? Now, the reimagination and the disruption that possibly we are all going to be, we heard it in the morning and we will keep hearing it for the next 3 days, is coming from the entire digital ecosystem. Because of that 1,64,000 crores, 60% is digital. And when I started my career, it was only television and maybe 1 or 2 channels, which is Doordarshan. Which
no, a lot of print also. Print was very big.
Print was the largest. Print was obviously
now digital is the largest.
Yeah. So that's the journey, and we say when it comes to reimagining and disruption, I get damn worried because this is the 4th decade of disruption and reimagination that I am personally living. Okay, but it's quite serious, and the reason why I feel responsible for that is because if we don't do things in the right way, if we don't put things in the right perspective, I think the next generation will not get that kind of a headway which possibly our seniors gave it to us at that point in time, and that's the growth that we have seen. So just to put things in, it's a large business, and just to give you a definition of M&E, when I say it's digital, it's TV, it's radio, it's print, and it's out of home. This is what constitutes to media and entertainment as a number. Yeah.
Rajan, you want to come in on this and especially take us through your because you are in different verticals. So if you could just take us through that, and then how do you see this going?
Sure. Thank you. Firstly, thank you for having me here. You rightly pointed out this is, say, the fourth level of disruption. But the time that it has taken for each round to happen has been obviously a lot more compressed. And I think this is something that we got to kind of realize going into the future. Because even when we are saying India at 100, and which is 2047, there are going to be multiple rounds of disruptions as we go there. And I think what the industry would be most concerned about is how is this next 5 year, you're running a marathon with 100-meter sprints. So how do you really look at, this entire opportunity? So the way we build Jet Synthesis is, we've always looked at delivering to the digital always generation, because today digital consumption and the platform on which consumption is happening, say the mobile phone, has already become the most significant part of media consumption in any shape and form. So when we looked at the Gen Z and we looked at what is the mechanism by way of which they are going to consume content, we were very clear that it is going to be across multiple forms, interactive content, and therefore gaming would be a big part of it. When we talk of entertainment, you rightly said you do sports, large part of entertainment, watching sports content, and how do you really build, to what you said, the IPs around which a lot of that can happen? And what is that which is unique from an India perspective, and what is it that India will collaborate with the world to be able to increase the pie of our media entertainment? So if India is 2% or 3% of the global media entertainment industry, how will India raise that, or what will trigger a shift, a significant jump there? And I think that is really how it will all happen on the back of digital. It is going to happen on the back of multiple forms by way of which this will happen. And really the ability therefore for India is right now to build both the talent pool and the ability to invest in IPs to be able to make that happen. Because the servicing industry, for example, India has also been a back end largely to many parts of the world. And when I'm talking more in, animation and VFX and many of those areas that impact these industries is where we're seeing a large part of the future things being built. We also are deeply in the creator economy and the music, and what we also find is that a tier 2, tier 3 consumer today is actually moving between music, between watching something on on sport. So the day there is an IPL match, the data consumption on music goes down completely. They're not listening to music because they put the data off and they save it for the evening, right? And I think this discussion even came out in the Prime Minister's CEO roundtable just before this, where the perspective on India that global players have and what Indian companies have, there is a big gap because there's a lot of data that has been captured digitally of Indian consumers that even Indian companies are not even able to have enough insight on. Now is the time for, therefore, this partnership model, and therefore Waves as a platform to make India a partner to the world in a far more meaningful manner and at a more aggressive pace. So it's very interesting how when you think of the future, you really look at this, and my bet is that technology is playing a big role. So today it will not matter what he's going to consume or because through AI, I will get only what is going to entertain me in my own shape and form. So my calendar of entertainment and media consumption will be different from his, will be different from yours. And it is that which is going to shape and change. Someone would like long form, someone like short form. I mean, today we have those 1 minute, episodes. So it's going to be so dynamic. So how do you really bring the best of technology, maybe premium content, and forms of entertainment or interactivity, as well as one-way kind of learning sometimes, also in this entire space is what complicates this space a lot.
Vikram, your take, and what does your crystal ball say?
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of relevant points added right now. And from my perspective, if we look at the media currency and a lot of numbers shared by Vanita as well as Vineet, the currencies which were shared were where we were before in terms of different media verticals, where media industry is. But what is it that is really going to get this into a double leap, if I may, right? Right now, India makes for India. Can India be the AI innovation lab for the globe? I think that's the big one. And what are the strategic inflections that can get us there? In my mind, there are a few changes which will happen as we look towards 2047, and we are set for that. The first one is with the power of technology, and technology is actually sitting at the intersection. When you look at media, on one hand there is brand, on one hand there's content, and on one hand there is user. How is this technology actually going to disrupt everyone? We've moved from an era from print to TV to digital. And I would actually say probably AI is going to change the phase of digital. It may still be digital, but AI is going to be as powerful as digital and equivalent in this whole intersection of humans and technology. The first inflection point is the rise of storytelling with AI. Now, what does that mean? It doesn't mean that what we are producing today as films, shooting, etc., will be done on a machine with AI. No. It means much more. It means that can you improvise the output quality? Can you create content along with the actor, but not so many hours of the actor? Can you create content with an influencer likewise? Can you create content at a destination without traveling to the destination? But with this technology, can we get this technology in the hands of a common person? Everybody is in the business of storytelling, no? We've all grown up listening stories from our grandfathers, grandmothers, chacha, mama. Har ghar mein story hoti hai. All of us are storytellers here. The difference is, how does it move to multiple users? There are platforms which market it. There are great stories if they don't come on great platforms with right marketing distribution. AI will solve that. A creator will be born out of a user, because a user will on one hand get AI tools, think of what they want to do. Let's imagine simply, and Rajan actually touched rightly upon IPs, and I'll talk a little bit about it, of how users can come in. So when you use AI, what are you changing for the consumer? The media currency, in my mind, will just change from reach to relationship for anyone. It'll move from eyeballs. Yeah, I don't want to talk about the television and print ones, but I absolutely agree with you. We have some, and I think Vineet is here. So when you look at reach to relationship, think consumer, think three things. Think Gen AI, think Gen Z, and start thinking about Bharat. The content which can be created and the stories can be told. How will a user become a creator, and those stories can kind of, get them to earn? With AI tools, you can create your own stories, but just imagine the power of IPs that Rajan touched upon. AI tools and IPs, your favorite movie is sitting there, your favorite franchise is sitting there. You can think of that movie with a twist. You can give it a concept. It could be a 2-minuter, it could be a 10-minuter. You put the concept, and all of this is happening. None of this is crystal ball gazing. The problem is, it has to get connected well for the end user, not for a technology person or just a creator. So you can create a concept. There are enough tools today which will generate an AI script. The AI script will come in. And then you can convert into a storyboard, into a video, and there you are. So you are using your favorite IP, partnering with your IP ownership, and you can split revenues. So in my mind, while there are multiple strategic inflections, the first two which stand out clearly is rise of AI and storytelling, and most importantly, the change in consumer habits.
They introduced an AI anchor a couple of years back, and in February or March, they introduced 2 AI pop stars, Aishan and Rue. I don't know how many of you are familiar. And their AI anchor is called Sana, and she actually, the chairperson, vice chairperson is not very happy with the fact that she can't debate, because she says the AI can't handle, but she does weather bulletins, she's done interviews, she gets endorsements. Sana gets endorsements. So a normal anchor cannot accept endorsements on behalf, but AI anchor can. So that is happening, though that's a regulatory minefield. But my question to all three of you is, we all know that the AI will be in the mix, that technology will be in the mix, that we are talking about a younger TG but the two challenges of scale and monetization. And in advertising, for instance, we have the lowest CPMs in the world, cost per 1,000 audience, that we get will be 1/20th or 1/100th of what, let's say, an American even whether it's an AI or whether it's a real original with live action. So how does that challenge, how do we address that challenge? And secondly, scale in content. So AI, I think, can help with the scale thing in creation of content. But in monetization of content, I'm not sure.
To be very honest, I think monetization is quite a mature stage of content marketing. Okay, currently we are at a juncture where we are still evolving and trying to figure out various ways and modules to use technology, because today tech is at the center of everything. Okay, anything that we do. So I'll give you a small example. Okay, we all go to D-marts or big bazaars or smart bazaars to shop, right? Okay, and we know what we want, and we pick products that we want because we can see. But imagine someone who's gone to a departmental store and knows what he or she wants, but can't see. Okay, that person is not able to see. How do you do it? Today, tech is enabling people like these to actually go and shop for themselves. AI is helping them do that. So we have just experimented this tech real time in Bangalore for one of our clients, okay? And it's actually live in one of the stores there. I mean, you can walk with your mobile phone is talking to you to identify the product that you want. He or she will tell you whether to go right, left, and actually help you buy that product. So now the question is, how do you monetize that? Do we have an answer? No, because the answer of monetization will come with scale. Now, how do we achieve scale? We will have to keep experimenting to achieve scale. Similarly, look at it from an entertainment or a media perspective. Today, storytelling, what AI can do in terms of creative is unreal. I mean, we have got so many different tools where, I mean, you can wake up in the morning, give a brief to an AI. AI can give you a presentation on a solution to a client's problem in less than 10 minutes with creatives in it. So it all depends upon what do you want to achieve and how do you want to use technology, okay? In fact, Mumbai University, I know for a fact, has started a course in prompt engineering, okay? Because unless and until we are able to give a right prompt to an AI, AI is not going to be delivering something that I have in my mind. I have to actually ask AI the right question for AI to be able to give me the right answer or a right solution. So therefore, monetization is actually a very, very mature stage, Vanita. I don't think we should worry too much about it, as long as we are able to use technology, use AI in our day-to-day lives at scale.
No, but how do you achieve that scale? I mean,
Yeah.
our industry is $29 billion. The largest media company in this world, Comcast, is what, $120, $130 billion?
Correct.
It's more than four times the size of India's whole industry.
Yeah, so if we go to what is the reason, right? It's very simple. There are two big reasons. One is, of course, an Indian consumer at the core is designed in a way where price performance always matters, right? So we want better performance, lower price. And we have created ecosystems in India that deliver that. And the primary reason is because our per capita GDP earning, or in the world is $2,500, which is insignificant compared to any of the developed markets. So one thing is very clear: the amount of money, therefore, the consumer actually has left to spend on entertainment after fulfilling their basic needs is very limited. But when you see countries like China and you see others, a big shift happens in all of these industries when the per capita goes up. So for that, it's only a matter of time, right? 8-10% growth year on year, leading up to 2047, will automatically take our per capita GDP to a point where you will be able to, get a far better outcome for the same, level of product. But having said that, the scale in India is actually now, therefore you need to invest, disproportionately to get scale for a good product compared to how you look at monetization upfront. Exactly. So today, if you look at it, like just as we speak, right, we have a IP called GEPL, Global E-Cricket Premier League, right? You move 2 channels from IPL, and on the Star Sports Select channel, you'll see GEPL going on through the day. What is GEPL? It's an E-Cricket Premier League where because we have over 300 million downloads, we took the top 10 million, brought it to 200,000, got the top 100, drafted them, put them into 6 teams, and they are playing on mobile phones, interactive entertainment, and others are watching now on television, right? So what I'm trying to say is that that IP, to get it to that level, required significant investment. But the monetization, the brands, and others will come after you have been able to create that and scale. So scale in India for a good product, right, requires significant investment. Of course, there's why, but the monetization follows that. But that monetization from a country standpoint, if you ask me, is going to be that journey, and therefore creating relevant products that continue to up performance relative to the world stage is going to be a need of this industry for the next 20 years till we get to 2047.
Yeah, because we are the, it's very nice to say we are the world's largest film producing country. We are the world's second largest television market. We are one of the world's largest consumers of video. We are one of the world's largest, second largest or the largest consumption of social media, data consumption, lowest data prices, excellent metrics. But it all boils down to $29 billion. So my point is that scale, and that scale should come at the Indian volumes and by servicing the Indian diversity and taking it global. And I think streaming unlocks a whole lot of opportunities. Not streaming just as in OTT streaming, but the very fact that at one device can connect you to the rest of the world. Anybody who's on a data pack. And therefore, what you're saying also, you can build up, even at lower per unit values, you could build up. Vikram, you.
We are a country of problem of plenty, but that opens up a land of opportunities, right? So let's look at various things. And I know in various other forums, if we date back, people are saying you print a newspaper, what's the price of the newspaper, what it gets delivered to your doorstep is still lesser than the cost of production, and advertising covers it, right? We are still in that phenomena, but we've moved leaps and bounds with digital. So things have changed, but not so much so in terms of what an individual is willing to pay.
Newspapers are the most profitable segment of the media business. I must tell my audience that.
At
and
the back of
newspapers are
advertising.
doing very well in the last couple of years. I mean, I know one newspaper group had a EBITDA of 600 crore this financial. So newspapers are doing excellently in India, by the way, contrary to popular perception. Sorry.
Absolutely. So what are we giving the consumer? We are addressing the consumer's needs and wants. I think it has to come right from the bottom. So if we look at, what is growing across today, TV channels, what is growing across, all of it is growing. What is growing across segments in newspaper? It's the whole Indian population now which is saying, I am what I am. Gone are the days where a vernacular audience is trying to say things in English. People are proud consuming what they are, whether it's Hindi or a regional language. And that is where the real growth engine is sitting. The large companies are going to kind of make it big. We'll have MNCs, we'll have large Indian companies do it. But the real growth is sitting where the mass population is. How is this probably going to happen with AI? When you look at AI, how is the brand really going to play a role in terms of saying, why will a brand spend? A brand will spend when it can make more business. If you get more business, you're ready to spend more. AI can actually do that. Let's visualize what creators and brands can do. You get it and say that, hey, it is so easy for a user. A user today can do so many things, right? Vineet mentioned about e-commerce. A user can do many things. A user had difficulties in 1998 saying, "Meko internet difficult hai." We had large players coming in and providing the right price, and we got, so many users coming in. So if you're going to make it easy to use, keep it simple, things will work out. Imagine you put technology as easy as the internet through AI tools with good UI UX in the hands of the consumer and say, here is your favorite IP. Whether it's an actor as talent or whether it's an IP which is your favorite movie. I can use clips from there. I think Vineet started that years back and it's exploded. You use footage from the brand, footage from brand content, and you put it out there. You can do it much better with AI. It's not going to be a cut-paste job what humans are doing. It can become a native ad and you pay. You pay the IP owner. There is so much catalog sitting in the library doing nothing. There are actors who don't have time to shoot. Right? People are going and shooting real estate ads for a pin code as good as that, or for a small city like Dubai, Indian actors are doing that. You don't need time to shoot. So on and so forth. You have digital humans like Vanita said, So how can you actually create easy to use brand advertising, using IPs, using influencers, using your own thoughts? Today what has happened is, what is e-commerce? It didn't exist, a few years back. Look at Amazon or look at ONDC, thanks to the government. What have we done? We've given power to the small retailer saying no, not only big companies will go and win, you have the power to create your own shop, do it your own self. And here there is ONDC saying we'll charge you less commission.
But what you and Vineet and even Rajan are saying, it has to solve a real problem or a need. For example, when an earthquake or some catastrophe happens, I may not always have an anchor in the newsroom. So AI helps me solve the problem of having a person in the newsroom. Of course, a real anchor will take over at some point. But there's a person who's reading out the basic facts that this has happened, that has happened. Weather bulletin. A weather bulletin is just 2 programs married to each other and it's going on air. So it has to solve a real problem and then you scale it up.
But you can actually get ads created, you can get ads created for the lowest common denominator for as good as 500 with technology, $500. If the SME is going to be able to advertise in a professionally generated ad, which they can't,
No, they are. It's huge.
the quality will change with AI, right? And then let the business come, they'll invest it back. So you can fuel the entire economy in terms of creator, in terms of SMEs, in terms of talent.
See, to me, AI is an enabler, and it's
It's
a
a
big
tool.
enabler, okay, which is making our lives simpler. Having said that, the core creativity and the essence of messaging has to come from a humanized point of view. So, just to give an example, gone are those days when a product or a service used to make 4 30-second or 2 60-second ads in a year. Today, you would possibly need 1 ad a day, because what consumers are spending time on is not a television set always, but a mobile phone or a device which is traveling with he or she. So what I'm trying to build here is a ecosystem which possibly will need a serious amount of consideration from a productization standpoint, wherein how am I blending the technological aspect of what I have today and a human intervention supported from an intelligence standpoint. Because today, when we all were growing up, I mean, people who are in their 40s or in their mid-30s right now, the culture was defined by grandparents, parents, or in a household. Today, culture is defined on platforms through a mobile phone. And that's when in any content meet or content conversations I go, they talk about culture. And today our Honorable Prime Minister spoke about culture, because the definition of culture itself has changed. And if that is the definition of culture, and that's what Gen Zs are talking about, then how are we using technology to build that culture in a positive, provocative way? And positive provocation is something which we need to seriously think about. Otherwise, we are actually creating a generation where we are not going to be having any heart and soul, but only some bots talking to us. And I'm sure none of us want that, right?
Today we are seeing a very early stage of AI explosion. This agentic AI, where, I'm becoming better. You can also just go to OpenAI. Hey, I'm having this session. What should I be saying? You'll become better.
I didn't do it, I
I'm
forgot.
just saying, many people come and say that. But these are small things where your productivity, your efficiency, your outcome is getting improved with AI. But this is just the beginning, the tip. Because when you bring quantum computing, where computing is going to become billions of times faster, it's going to replicate your human mind. It's going to operate at a pace. So it's the only challenge in AI is what are the language models that it's going to process to create this outcome. So therefore, I think the larger challenge is always going to come. What you feed a computer is on the basis of which you'll get an outcome. And therefore, this whole creative technologies that the Prime Minister talked, the Indian Institute of Creative Technologies that was announced today, so I'm on the board of that, and I've been through the thinking with the government. It's a private-public partnership, and the private sector is 52%, 48% is government. So the government intends to lead it through the private sector, because industry is the one that's going to shape this future, and we don't want to, make it regulatory first or policy first and then have industry catch up from an India perspective. But having said that, industry itself is going to have to deal with many challenges, because like to what you said, right? Ultimately, that personalization of content which will come to me will come on the basis of what I am consuming, and the big echo chamber thing, and you go on doing more and more of, your persona, and then I don't even need human creativity technically to create that, because AI will create that in a far more engaging, far more systematic, a lot more quantity. But Is that the way we would like the industry to go? Is that what policy interventions would make? I think these are the things that we will have to protect for. So I think going into the future, as we all agreed in the beginning, the pace of disruption is going to be very fast. How do we ensure that the other tenets of what are important and critical, given that we talk of culture and extension and values and so many aspects of human society, are not then driven by small technology group sitting somewhere and shape India and that. I think these are the things we got to worry.
Another important point is AI. Gen AI is not Google search. We need to tell ourselves first. You just can't, because and that's when I think this institution is going to be helping us, because I think one of the early starting courses that possibly the institute would do is about prompt engineering, because today the way you have got software programmers, you will have prompt engineers, because what you prompt, because AI is a huge, it's actually searching the whole world, right? And therefore what prompt or what question are you asking is going to be very, very important. And I have no doubts that prompt engineer is going to be one of the most popular degrees in universities worldwide very, very soon, if not already.
We are talking about huge inputs of technology, and we have the content chops. I always use the example of the Indian film business. 110 years old, Hollywood is still only 10%. It has overtaken every other local film industry in the world except in Korea. India and Korea remain standing because we have a robust industry, local industry, which meets local needs. It may not have the same monetization levels, but the Indian industry, film industry, rules the Indian box office, and that's how it should be. But you know what? When you're talking about, now going aside from films, when you're talking about this level of technology and intervention and this level of disruption, we are already, we are at a social media scale right now. If you look at, 500 million or billion hours of content uploaded on YouTube every minute and whatever. We are swimming in a sea of content, okay? And AI is going to add to it at an exponential rate. So you're talking about a deluge. So I don't think scale of creation will become the issue.
I think data point, Vanita, in the morning, in the opening session, that you had 500 radio channels, 700 newspapers, 1,000 television channels, but can we put a number to the digital platforms today which all of us are consuming? You just can't. Which means it's beyond reach. There is no, it's an infinite amount of content that we are consuming through various different touch points. We don't even know what are those touch points.
बिल्कुल. तो इसमें consumer का क्या हाल होगा? I think that is...
Consumer तो happy है. From an advertising perspective, how are brands leveraging this whole deluge of content, okay, is the trick and the question on table right now.
Exactly.
Yeah, because today, I would want to engage with as many consumers and audiences as possible as a brand, okay? I don't have any limit. I would want to do as much as possible. But where is my audience today? Identifying that, how do I reach he or she, in what frame of mind? Because one size fits all is not an answer anymore. It's possibly a world of interaction and not interruption, because I was born in an era of interruption. Today, I think any youngster, if you interrupt that person, he or she will get switched off, okay? So therefore, how am I engaging on social, on various platforms, and engaging on a daily basis, and possibly creating a ecosystem where I'm actually trying to convince my consumer to first consider my product and then buy my product at some stage. Now, this intervention and this journey is going to be enabled through technology and through AI, and therefore I'm saying that tech and AI are enablers and not exactly monetization services.
You said interruption, interaction. Today it is influence. So literally your content will influence purchasing behavior, because branded content is actually going into stories in a way that the call to action is right there. So that's...
With streaming platforms today, we are talking about path
right?
to purchase.
Yeah.
So for example, someone is watching an IPL match on any device. How can I sell my product or a service to that person? Is the conversation in the room?
Yeah, just to add to that, basically content drives commerce for a while. That's not going to change. AI is going to change the game in terms of how the user can participate in that, I would say. And if the content
change is real time. Content drive commerce is a fact.
Yes.
Content driving commerce, real time is the game.
Absolutely.
Okay, quick predictions. 5 years from now, where are we?
I think 5 years from today, how much I would like a physical waves to happen. I think there will be lot of avatars, lot of interventions beyond human. I'm sure the room is aware of something called as AI-driven influencers. I think Bollywood made a film on I mean, I think Shahid Kapoor film, right, where the leading lady was a robo. Yeah. So AI-driven influencers is a reality as we speak, and we are following some of them on Insta without being aware that this person doesn't exist in real world.
There's a Spanish company which has a copyright on a lot of AI influencers and makes huge amounts of money.
And the reason why AI-driven influencers will thrive is because you can actually program them to behave and speak the way you want. Yeah, and they don't throw tantrums because they're programmed.
Building on further on technology, I think the shift towards an experiential economy will translate even in media. Because today when you watch a movie, you're doing some content, it's triggering emotions, right? And today you're in a digital world, it's moved from there to digital. Now people will experience that physically. So we are seeing that happening, immersive experiences, whether it's AR and VR. And I think increasingly, if you look at it from a 5-year perspective, that shift will then cause a far greater outcome, even from the economy perspective of media entertainment. Like today, hearing and consuming music and actually going to a concert and paying and watching that same consumer, of course the numbers are small. So today we see very easy shifts from large digital communities to physical. So we are talking of phygital experiences, where we take digital consumers and actually move them into a physical space where you can monetize them more, the brands come in more, transactions can happen. And I see that being a big driver from the media entertainment. So it's not, consumer will keep changing, shifting. The bigger challenge is going to be for the industry is how do you prepare and what do you do differently from that?
To keep the
like
policy
we said,
groundwork.
TV, print, outdoor, and newspapers, influencers are platforms today. Okay.
Yeah, they are the media platform. I call influencers a parallel media ecosystem.
So now that ecosystem, 5 years from today, Vanita, is going to be evolving to another level. And if I have to put a number to it, and it's just a number I'm making up right now, if there are 20,000 influencers
there
today...
There are 3.5 million to 5 million influencers.
So I won't be able to put a number to those 5 years from today.
So there is no parallel, that is mainstream.
Correct, he's right. Vikram, 5 years from
today
now,
we have everything here. I don't think people thought about as much time spent today 5 years back, right? Everything comes here, music, photos. We don't need other things. Ye leke nikal jao, no money required as well, right? Right from commerce. So I think 5 years from now, if you see even today, even in this age, humans are born to talk to humans, right? We'll have to get into that education to talk to machines. I think Vineet was talking about various things. I think that is what will make a big difference, saying, how well do you know how to talk to machines or understand
prompt
them,
engineering.
Beyond that, but yes, that's the starting point, absolutely. And I think the people who will make significant monetization models will be an outcome of how good you are as creative expressions.
Okay, that's interesting. Thank you on that note. Thank you so much, all three of you. And thank you, audience.